To my knowledge, Mad Cave Studios is the last publisher standing of some renown holding an annual talent search of any kind nowadays. Beginning in 2018, Mad Cave crowns 1 to 2 writers, artists, colorists, and letterers as winners from what I can only imagine to be hundreds if not thousands of individual submissions for each category. The contest has been held for as long as I've been making comics, always in the periphery. It crossed my mind once or twice to enter the competition in the past, but I was too focused on my own creator-owned comics to make enough time for it. I decided I was going to make the time in 2023. The only criteria for writers was that the short story had to be no longer than 8 pages and it had to be set in a Mad Cave Studios property. The book I chose was their supernatural title, Dahlia in the Dark. Before we get to today's video, please subscribe to this channel and please give this video a like. And also, if you could please sign up to be notified when my new comic launches on Kickstarter next week. Next Wednesday on October 18th, The Fabled Offering is launching on Kickstarter, and we are so pumped to get this book out to you guys to launch this campaign. We are sitting at 160 followers, which is the largest sign-up count I've ever had for any of my projects. So thank you all for signing up and for getting ready and getting this book hyped up. I'm so excited to share this book with you, and I cannot wait to see what you guys think of it. We're working so hard to bring you the coolest, the most profound, the most emotionally charged and engaging sci-fi fantasy story that we can make. The link to the pre-launch page is in the description below, so please go and sign up if you haven't so that we can hit my next goal of 200 followers before we launch on October 18th. Let's get to it. Dahlia in the Dark is a more recent title from Mad Cave Studios and, to my own embarrassment, one of the very few I've been able to get my hands on. Written and created by my writer friend Joe Corallo and drawn by Andrea Milana, Dahlia in the Dark is part fantasy, part road trip thrill ride. Donnie Dahlia is the titular protagonist of the 6-issue series, a gun for hire navigating a peculiar world of werewolves, changelings, fairies, and more, all in a modern-day setting. Swept up in a chain of events out of his control, Donnie ends up protecting a very special runaway fairy of utmost importance. As we progress through the series, we learn that Dahlia has quite the tortured past, having gone through a divorce years ago and losing touch with his only daughter, Amy. In issue 4, the reader is witness to a flashback of Dahlia saying goodbye to Amy, both characters knowing nothing will be the same again. Amidst all the supernatural spice, world building, and the plot itself, it was this scene, this character moment, because I'm all about character with my stories, that got my attention. This is where my story begins. What would Dahlia do after losing both his wife and child in the divorce? Would he just sit in his motel room and sulk the night away? I don't think so. Not a character like Donnie Dahlia. He would need to let off some steam. He would need a job to take his mind off his own problems. Any job. And he would need it ASAP. My Dahlia in the Dark short story is called Rough Day, and it opens with Dahlia at a random bar, bruised and cut up, his suit stained with a few bloodstains. His blood or something else's? No one at the nearly empty bar bothers to ask. A woman in a black dress approaches Dahlia as he sips on his glass of scotch and inquires, "Rough day?" We then cut to earlier that afternoon, the same afternoon Dahlia said goodbye to his young daughter. An unfamiliar status quo of this new, unfortunate family dynamic sets in, leading Donnie to make a phone call. His employer Ollie picks up, listening to Donnie's plea for an assignment to get his mind off things. Ollie listens as he enjoys a massage from vampiric masseuses, eventually throwing him a bone. Donnie will do it for half his usual rate, and Big Molly deserves a night off anyway. The job is going to require a lot of firepower though. Even better, Donnie replies. What am I walking into exactly? Donnie asks. A business deal a client can't afford to allow, says Ollie. It's taking place tonight at the Torsen meat processing plant. I'll have my secretary send you the location. I'll spare you the boring details, but let's just say you're there to maintain a balance of power, to curate it. We can't have changelings making territorial and under-the-table alliances with ephemerals, humans, who are in bed with werewolves. It's unnatural. There's an order to these things that our client and I agree on. Who's the target? They're all the target. The client wants to send a clear message to both the company's board and the processing plant heads, and that message is, I'm watching you. No survivors, Dahlia. Dahlia fires a shot from his sniper rifle, alerting his targets to his presence, and we're in the action now. Dahlia goes on a rampage, channeling his guilt and hatred into the mission. As he stabs a knife in the throat of the last remaining target, a businesswoman who also happens to be a changeling, the blood splatters onto him, causing Dahlia to hallucinate, as is established in the main series. Instead of seeing the face of his victim, he sees the faces of his ex-wife and daughter. They speak to him. Donnie, Daddy, what have you done? We return to the bar on the final page. Dahlia refuses the advances of the woman in the black dress, gets up from his seat, and exits the building. Before he leaves, he answers the woman's question. Yeah, rough day. The end. In spite of my confidence that I had written a very tight, well-paced, exciting, and emotionally grounded short story, my Dahlia in the Dark story did not win the 2023 Mad Cave Studio Talent Search. Another rejection, another failure, another blow to my ego. I felt I had written something that only enriched the main series on all levels, but nonetheless, they didn't see it that way. It was time to go back to the drawing board, or in my case, the writer's notebook, and return to my own stories. If you would like to read my Dahlia in the Dark script, you can. The link is in the description below, so please let me know what you all think. So there you have it. These past 4 videos recounting my rejected submissions has been somewhat cathartic if I'm being honest. I never thought I'd be able to share these stories with anyone but me, myself, and I. I appreciate everyone who has watched these videos and who's given me encouragement and feedback. It's been both rewarding and somewhat aggravating going down memory lane, but I hope it's given struggling creators a sense of kinship. Maybe these stories will take another form down the line, or just collect dust. Either way, every idea, every word, every sentence, every bit of dialogue, every story you write matters, friends. Keep growing, keep failing, keep succeeding. Above all, keep writing. Don't wait for anyone to give you permission to tell your stories. You don't need them, but they and the world need you.